Hello and welcome back, everyone. Thank you for carving out a little quiet time for us today.
Yes, a very warm welcome. We know your schedules are packed with endless tasks and alerts, so we are truly grateful you decided to slow down with us.
I am Emma.
And I am Henry.
This is your gentle space for improving your English through natural conversations and relatable daily moments.
Today, we have an episode designed for upper intermediate to advanced listeners. The vocabulary will be a little more sophisticated, but please do not worry if you miss a word here and there.
Exactly. Just let the conversation flow around you. Enjoy the stories, and you can always replay it later. Consider this a mental rest stop. We will do the heavy lifting for your English today.
Speaking of heavy lifting, it looks like you are carrying the weight of the world this morning, Emma. You have a giant mug of coffee.
Oh, it is true. I am running on pure caffeine today. I had a tiny dispute with my neighbor's new dog, who decided that 3 a.m. was the perfect time to sing to the moon.
Oh dear, so we have coffee-fueled Emma in the studio today.
Yes, but my mind is focused and ready to go. The real issue is the wind outside. It is absolutely chaotic today.
It really is. The wind is throwing autumn leaves everywhere. It cannot decide if it wants to be a gentle breeze or a full winter storm.
It is as unpredictable as you in a bookstore, Henry.
That is entirely unfair, but completely accurate. I do browse the shelves like I am selecting a house to buy. Books are a serious commitment.
They are, but the unpredictable weather actually reminds me of a typical day. It is a mix of calm breezes and sudden storms.
That is a wonderful way to put it. Most days are a blend of peaceful moments and sudden chaos. But when a friend asks, "How was your day?" we usually just reply with, "It was fine," or "It was busy."
And that is exactly the habit we are going to break today. Our focus is learning to talk about your day in English at a much higher level.
Exactly. We want to move past the simple sequence of waking up, working, eating, and sleeping. We want to give you the words to paint a richer picture of your daily life.
We are going to journey through a complete day, from the morning light to the evening shadows. As we chat, you might recognize your own habits in our stories.
You can adopt any sentence or phrase that matches your routine. And toward the end of our chat, we will slow our pace and review the more advanced vocabulary so it truly sticks in your mind.
So if a new word slips by you right now, do not stress. We will catch it for you later.
And if you find value in learning English with real emotions and authentic stories, please take a second to like and subscribe. It helps other learners discover our quiet corner of the internet.
Let us get comfortable. Take a deep breath and dive right into the morning. Henry, how does your day actually begin?
I will skip the glossy, idealized version. My morning routine is actually a bit quirky.
Quirky means a little unusual or unconventional, but in a charming way.
Yes, instead of jumping out of bed, I immediately grab a pen and a small notebook on my nightstand. Before my feet touch the floor, I write down one completely random thought I had while waking up.
That is fascinating. So instead of a quiet negotiation with your alarm clock, you are having a conversation with your dreams.
Sometimes it is a brilliant idea, but usually it is just nonsense about buying more milk. But on weekends, I completely go overboard with making my coffee.
To go overboard means you do something to an extreme degree.
Exactly. I bring out the scales, the special filters, the thermometer. It takes 20 minutes just for one cup. It is definitely going overboard. What about your reality, Emma?
My reality is much less poetic. I wake up immediately, but I sit on the couch wrapped in a blanket like a burrito for 10 full minutes.
Just staring into space?
Yes. If I immediately turn on the news or check my messages, my brain instantly feels cluttered. So I just sit there and look at my favorite houseplant. It is my way of anchoring myself before the rush begins.
I love that. A quiet anchor.
If I skip my quiet time, I end up feeling scattered and disorganized for hours. Eventually, I do get up and do the standard routine: shower, skincare, and trying to find a matching pair of socks.
the eternal struggle.
And then comes the departure. I have a very specific routine at the front door. I call it the pat down.
Checking for essentials?
Always. Laptop, transit pass, building ID, phone. I pat my bag and my coat pockets. And yet, almost every week, I forget my travel mug full of tea right on the kitchen counter.
So your checklist is flawless, but your execution fails.
Exactly. Once I am finally out the door, I take the subway. My commute is actually my dedicated reading time.
Is it peaceful down there?
Not at all. It is loud, crowded, and there is always someone playing music without headphones. But I put on my noise-canceling earbuds, open my novel, and completely zone out.
Zone out means you let your mind drift away and stop paying attention to your immediate surroundings.
Yes, I zone out into my book, and suddenly I am at my stop. What is your commute like?
I am lucky enough to walk through a small park to get to my office. I try to notice the changing seasons. It grounds me before I reach my desk.
And what happens when you finally sit down at that desk?
I open my planner and immediately reality hits. Sticky notes, endless flagged emails, urgent project updates. Some mornings I feel completely swamped by 10 o'clock.
Swamped means you are overwhelmed with a massive amount of work.
Like sinking in a swamp of paperwork. When I feel that panic rising, I close my laptop screen for a second. I ask myself, what is actually critical right this second?
Prioritizing is essential. On my highly productive days, I take all the tiny 2-minute tasks and just whip through them.
To whip through something means to finish it rapidly and effectively.
Exactly. I will whip through approving calendar invites or sending quick replies. Clearing out the small clutter helps me feel capable of handling the massive projects.
That makes perfect sense. Of course, there are days where I try to do 4 things simultaneously, and my mind ends up totally frazzled.
Frazzled is a wonderful word. It means feeling exhausted, nervous, and unable to concentrate.
It feels like static electricity in your brain. When I am frazzled, I have to step away and get a glass of cold water to reset.
Midday is usually when I need a reset anyway. Lunchtime is absolutely non-negotiable for me.
Me as well. If I try to work through lunch, the afternoon is a disaster.
I have learned the hard way that during the afternoon slump, I often try to rush my writing to get it over with, but haste makes waste.
Haste makes waste is a classic proverb. It means that rushing a job will just cause mistakes, which ends up taking more time to fix.
Precisely. If I type a report too quickly, I will leave out crucial data, and my manager will just send it back to me. So I force myself to type slowly and deliberately at 2 in the afternoon.
My afternoon challenge is usually the endless stream of spontaneous meetings. I have developed a talent for being able to gracefully wiggle out of them.
To wiggle out of something means to cleverly avoid doing something you do not want to do.
Yes, but professionally. I will send a polite message saying, I am deeply focused on this spreadsheet. Could we resolve this via a quick email instead?
That is a brilliant tactic. If you attend every meeting, your energy is completely depleted before dinner.
Speaking of the end of the day, how do you handle those final hours, Emma?
It varies wildly. Sometimes I hit a magical pocket of inspiration at 4 o'clock. Other times, I am just staring at a blinking cursor.
On those slow days, I try not to deceive myself. I look at my remaining tasks and decide what can honestly wait for the sunrise.
Let us cut to the chase.
To cut to the chase means to get straight to the most important point.
I will cut to the chase. If I push myself too hard at 5 o'clock, the work is low quality anyway. So I prefer to pack up my bag and genuinely call it a day.
Knowing when to close the laptop is vital. And then the transition back to personal life begins. What is your sanctuary like when you get home?
The first thing I do is wash my hands. It is symbolic for me. I am washing away the office. Then I change into sweatpants and put on some acoustic guitar music.
That sounds incredibly peaceful.
I strive for evenings that feel deeply wholesome.
Wholesome describes something that is pure, healthy, and good for your well-being.
Exactly. A wholesome evening for me is baking a simple loaf of banana bread or doing a watercolor painting. No screens, No intense news, just creation.
I have two very different types of evenings. The ideal one involves cooking a proper meal and reading a physical hardcover book.
And how does the ideal evening leave you feeling?
Utterly rejuvenated.
Rejuvenated means feeling youthful, fresh, and full of vitality again.
Yes, I wake up the next day feeling optimistic. But the alternative evening is when I sit on the sofa, open a social media app, and suddenly 3 hours have vanished.
Ah, the digital rabbit hole.
I go completely overboard, and by morning, I am far from rejuvenated. I am groggy and regretful.
We are all guilty of that. But whether your day is perfectly balanced or a bit chaotic, you now have a richer vocabulary to share those experiences.
You wake up with quirky habits, you commute and zone out, you feel swamped at your desk, you whip through emails, you wiggle out of obligations, and you finally seek a wholesome, rejuvenated evening.
Let us take a moment to slow down and revisit these wonderful expressions in our little word tour.
Just listen and absorb. Let us begin with the heavy, busy words. The first is swamped.
When you are swamped, you are buried under too much work. For instance, I was so swamped with grading papers that I missed lunch.
Next is frazzled. Frazzled means feeling frantic, exhausted, and stressed out. For example, the loud construction noise outside left me completely frazzled.
Now for the uplifting vocabulary. We have rejuvenated.
If you are rejuvenated, you have your energy and freshness restored. For example, a weekend trip to the mountains left her feeling fully rejuvenated.
We also talked about wholesome. Something wholesome is pure, simple, and emotionally nourishing. For instance, picking apples in the orchard was a wonderfully wholesome weekend activity.
Moving on to habits and behaviors, we used the word quirky.
Quirky means slightly odd, but in an endearing or fun way. For example, he has a quirky habit of collecting vintage postcards.
Then we had the phrase go overboard.
To go overboard means doing something excessively or using too much of something. For example, I went overboard with the garlic in this pasta sauce.
We also discussed clever maneuvers, like wiggle out of.
If you wiggle out of something, you smoothly and cleverly avoid a task you dislike. For instance, she managed to wiggle out of helping them move furniture.
Then we looked at communication with cut to the chase.
To cut to the chase means skipping the introduction and getting to the core issue. For example, we only have 5 minutes, so let us cut to the chase.
We shared the wise proverb, haste makes waste.
Haste makes waste reminds us that hurrying leads to mistakes and lost time. For example, do not assemble that shelf without reading the instructions, because haste makes waste.
And finally, we had whip through.
To whip through something means to complete it very fast and efficiently. For instance, she whipped through her homework so she could watch the movie.
Excellent. That concludes our vocabulary stroll. You do not need to memorize the entire list today.
Just pick the one phrase that resonated with your actual routine. Maybe you felt frazzled today, or maybe you are aiming for a wholesome evening.
We would absolutely love it if you shared one moment from your day in the comments using one of our new phrases.
Your daily life is the perfect classroom for your English. Thank you for inviting us into yours today. I am Emma.
And I am Henry. We will see you next time.